Hi, Leonard.
Hi, Georgina.
It's good to see you. And I'm really excited that you're coming to share your wisdom, your experiences with the men here in the region in Nyon, in Switzerland. I'm excited. We met in 2017 back in Ireland. And this will be the first time we meet in person again since then.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. It's been a while.
And just to introduce people a little bit to your story or part of your story, you spent a long time working in insurance and you were a very successful CEO in the insurance world. You had a little bit of a playboy lifestyle for a while. And at some point you had it all and you gave it up. You let it go. You sold everything and you went on a quest. You went on a quest, a journey, let's say, a spiritual quest, a soul quest for about 5 years, right?
Correct.
And during that time, you explored, you found sexual, shamanic, Tantra, Taoism, sacred sexuality. What I was trying to say before was spiritual sexual shamanism. And you then wrote a memoir about it. You wrote a memoir called Jump, an Epic Soul and Sex Adventure. And you now share about that. You share from your embodied experiences and your ongoing exploration to support men's conscious empowerment. And I'm really curious where you are today with that, on that journey. I'm really curious of what makes you passionate today? What keeps you really staying on that adventure and not going back to the corporate world, for instance?
Yes, no, I'm so passionate about truthful and unapologetic masculinity. For men to fully express themselves and to expand into their full expression, and to live lives of pleasure and passion and deep connection in relationships. Yeah, that's what lights me up at the moment. I had a lot of fun in the business world, and it was great fun. I really had a good time. But now it's almost like, not almost, it is, I think, a second career or second part of my life. And the decision for me now is where do I want to put my energy, my focus. And this is for right now bubbling up. This is expressing through me at the moment. Conscious sexuality, spirituality, sexuality linked, and for specifically at the moment, with groups of men. And that really, it lights me up and it's a passion, but in a way, I think it's also so needed, or more voices are needed. Masculinity in some circles is like a dirty word, and it's so that breaks my heart. I see the young men coming into this world, and as they arrive, they almost not feel sometimes too welcome because they're getting clapped left, right, and center, and so I really want to bring that back, the proud and the honor and masculinity, but authentic, authentic masculinity, truthful, healthy masculinity. So
I love that. Unapologetic, authentic masculinity. What does that feel like? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I often find that men come to me and it's like almost making apologies for being a man, and you can almost feel it in the energy field that there's a bit of apology of being in a man space, in a masculine space. So I really want people and men to really step out in the world there and to really hold that strong masculine point,
Yeah, that really touches me. And I feel that's really present. I work with a lot of men, and also bringing men and women together in conscious connecting spaces. And I really feel that it's very true what you say. there's this sense of needing to withdraw their masculine energy in order to feel they bring safety into the space.
I mean, I have guys, for example, saying, you know, they dance with a woman and they get an erection, and then they get like totally flustered, and you know, they try to hide this erection and almost, you know, put the erection in an energy down. And I said to the guys, yeah, that's crazy, man. That's the last thing you want to do, is to put that energy down. You know, it's a beautiful expression of your body. And if you're in that contact with a woman, I mean, it's consent and she dances with you, and you have this erection, celebrate that erection, man. And if anything, that is a beautiful compliment to the woman. And in my experience, most women is, you know, really take it as a compliment. It's not a problem. It's actually beautiful, you know. And why would you want to feel embarrassed about having an erection and trying to hide it? And I'm often surprised that the guys go like, oh, wow, is that okay? And then it's almost like I have to give them permission, or someone else have to give them permission for that, which is crazy. So they should just feel it in their body that it is perfectly fine to be in that space. No, just one example. And yeah, I mean, I would love to hear your thoughts on that, you know, for us as a woman. I mean, isn't that true? No, that if it's a beautiful dance, for example, and it's consent, and so, I mean, that's not something you don't want a guy to be embarrassed about having an erection.
No, definitely not. We have such a huge culture of shame that we need to support each other to move beyond shame. It's very interesting as you say it, because the thing that comes up for me is that the same is happening for women in a different way, where it might be more around emotions or expression, where it's like you've got to withhold too muchness, too much emotionality, too much feeling something, because that will be too much for men. And so there's a sort of a closing down, and therefore there's no energy flowing between us. But if I know as a woman how to be with all my life force, and I'm not afraid of it, and I'm not ashamed of it, then I don't project that onto men. And I hold myself, and that might be also my sexual energy, my desire. And if I'm not, you know, if I'm conscious of how that energy is moving, then other doesn't need to be afraid of it. So as you said it, what came up for me was like, oh yes, how important is it for men to have that space together to talk about this, in order to hold their own energy as safe. And as men hold themselves as being safe with their sexual energy, then women will feel safe in their presence.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Because then they are being authentic. They're being authentic about themselves and their bodies, isn't it? You know, and if the women can see that, you know, authentic expression, then they're going to feel safe. If they feel, and women are so in tune, if they feel this guy's hiding something and pressing something down, they're going to feel pretty unsafe, and they're going to notice the guy's not authentic, and they're going to think, well, if he's not authentic with himself, how the hell is he going to be authentic with me? You know, and it's not necessarily a mind thing that happens, but you know, the body, that just comes up in intuition and in the body. And I believe the woman is really going to feel unsafe. So it's much better being in that expression. As I say, with full consent, obviously, you know, I'm not talking the old school terrible things that happen in the patriarchy space. I'm talking really with consent and openness to really be yourself, to be in your masculinity, and to be in your erotic energy. You know, to contain it within yourself and to spell it out. But I think there's nothing more beautiful for a woman, and I'm not a woman, but to see a man, you know, in his masculine power and his sexual power, and it contained in his body, you know. And
exactly. Yeah.
Out, but to see that there, isn't it?
For me, it's like, how can we be turned on by life? You know, it's like, a woman wants to be admired, to be seen. And if a man is turned on by that beauty, by that energy,
Yes.
and can hold that without needing to do anything with it, that's wonderful. That's such a, it's a way of being honored. And then
Sure.
my deep longing as a woman is to fully honor the men in their sexual energy, in their phallic power, in their fully alive and open energy and expression of that. But this is the place, this is a real, this is something so passionate for me and so deep to my heart, is where we've wronged that energy in men, and where we don't know what to do with that as women. And this is why I'm inviting you, Lenerd, because I want to honor the men. I want the men to have this space to really come together, to talk about this, to know how to feel and own and embody all of their aliveness, all of their vulnerability, all of their penetrative power. And in truth, women long for that too.
That's exactly, and it's so beautiful for men to come together and to talk about this. Because who are you going to talk? You're not really going to talk. Men don't talk about it, generally speaking, with each other. It's not something that you're there in a pub. You're going to talk to your buddy, really, So this creating that space, thank you for that. It's beautiful, because now being considered a circle in a safe space, where that's confidentiality in a circle of brothers, and they can hear each other express these things. And then when you hear someone else express it, it hits your body and like, oh, okay, wow, I've had a similar space, a similar thing in that. And then from that, it just brings that forward. And it, almost in that circle, things that you're unsure or uncertain or insecure about can just drop in and become much more secure and certain. And, isn't that what we want, to be just confident in ourselves and confident in our sexuality, a place of ease and confidence. That's super important. The moment we drop into that, we can do anything in the world. And apart from doing anything in the world, it also gives us super peacefulness and spaciousness. And I believe men coming together in circles like this, and even if it's just for 4 or 5 hours, it doesn't have to be a week-long workshop. That's also great. But just to sit in the space and to hear this and to talk about it is super, super, not just healing, it's super transformational.
So this workshop is about men connecting heart and sex. How do these things connect in a sense? What does that mean? I mean, if we're talking about primal energy, penetrative energy, the sexual energy, life force energy, and then the heart, we might normally relate that to more vulnerability, loving, receiving, expressing. How do these energies connect? And how do you feel that in a man's body?
Yes, so that penetrative sexual energy is what we talked about a little bit earlier, about honoring your erection and honoring this penetrative sexual energy that you have. So almost that primal energy, that's that type of energy, and to honoring that. But then also, just doing that on its own without doing it from an open heart, it's two different things. So firstly, there's the sexual energy from waking you from my groin upwards, penetrative energy, owning that and being proud of that and not any apologies about it. But then also really dropping into your heart and feeling your heart open. And people often ask, what does that mean? It could be as simple as just saying, sure, dropping from my head into my heart, feel my heart, and actually feel my chest opening and feel love for whatever, in the world. And that's a beautiful practice just to experience and say, okay, what do I really love, and drop into my heart. And it could be a nature seed. It could be someone, your beloved. It could be your child. It could be whatever, and it's just a beautiful practice of opening that. And then if you can then go and connect these two energies, you've got this heart space and you've got this penetrative space. And then a good place to practice that is in lovemaking. where you actually, when you penetrate a woman, to make sure your heart is open. Now, your heart is open and you look into her eyes, and then you penetrate from that space. Now you're penetrating her with your lingam, with your cock, but it comes from a heart energy space, and it's such a different connection, it's such a different interaction, not just for you, but for her also, and also for the two of you together, which is this third entity that happens, when we connect in a relationship, and it really feeds that with that heart energy, but with this unapologetic masculine penetrative energy also. Now, once you start doing that, and you do that in lovemaking, the next step is just, the continue or simultaneous step is to bring that out in the world in anything that you do. Whether you mow the lawn, to be silly, whether you start a business, or give a workshop, or do a financial meeting, or to bring that in the same space of where you create. Just an idea. You sit in a boardroom, you sit in a meeting, and yes, you have to sometimes, get into the penetrative, okay, boom, 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 this is what I'm going to do. But to actually come from a heart space in that. Now we all sit around the table, but we all drop into hearts first before we penetrate the world. Which creates something totally different, What we create is made out of that energy that we felt when we created it. It can't be anything different. So if we create this thing, but we're in a love energy, it's going to be made of love. It's going to be a bit of a higher vibration. And that could be super, traditional businesses, could be financial services, it could be anything, it could be really anything. It could be services, it could be products. But now it comes from this space. And I don't want to get too woo-woo, but that entity then is made of that creative energy, of that heart space energy, which is a higher vibration energy. And that it is not just that is beautiful and is from a heart space, it's also got a much better chance of succeeding, because everything consciousness on this planet is lifting. We can see it. People are waking up crazy fast, and heart openings happening. And I really believe that businesses that aren't made of this energy, or projects or people's careers that aren't made of this energy, will disintegrate, because this old school, style businesses were maybe more about exploitation rather than collaboration, are starting to disintegrate. So even if you don't want to do it from a being a good guy point of view, do it from a business point of view, because it's got so much better chance of succeeding.
I love this, Lenerd. I really feel the power in this, and something around, the responsibility, the shift here of responsibility in terms of taking ownership of this authentic, unapologetic masculinity to do something very powerful and good in the world, and coming together as brothers to support each other to bring that shift.
Exactly, and to create it together and to brainstorm on that together. I don't know all the answers. I'm just in the process of exploration, and I'm just inviting people to explore with me. I don't want to do this on my own. I want to put a circle of brothers to say, listen, how can we do this? And I have some ideas. But then it's like sit together, and it's collaboration, and to hear what other people say, and then see, how can we bring this into the world? I think that's super exciting.
It's very exciting, and it's like you say, it's about impacting every part of our society and every part of our own lives. It might be in terms of being a father. You're a father yourself, right? And how do you see that being relevant to men who have sons and daughters, growing up? How is this energy important to embody as fathers?
Yes, exactly, because that's, that's super important. What a beautiful place to start for your son to come into this world where he feels it's fine to be in your heart, isn't it? You know, as a boy, to be fine to be in your emotions. It's fine to express your emotions. You know, like the old school thing about boys don't cry, for example. You know, luckily I think that's shifted already. Now imagine kids come and sons and boys come into the world where they are taught, and I think it's super important to be taught the penetrative going for this go-getting kind of thing, and to be able to defend themselves, you know, and to be able to have to drop into their warrior energy and to kill if they have to for their own safety and the safety of their family. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. To still have that, but also to have the permission, and not more than permission, but to see the beauty of being in your heart and be able to sit and be vulnerable and to express your emotions. I think if you as a father can bring that to your son, sure, I was get emotional here. You know, that son, that young man comes into the world. It's a game changer. He comes into the world. Never mind the effect and the beautiful impact he will have in the world out there, but him arriving in the world and stepping into the world comes from such a more secure and sound basis, because now, you know, he's unapologetic about his penetrative energy, but he's also fully unapologetic about being a vulnerable, heart-centered man. And bringing those two together is super powerful. And, you know, it's so much better to learn that from 8, 10, 12 than get 30, 40, 50 and having to go to workshops to learn that. If you've been brought into the world with this, you don't have to go to workshops. You are it. And I think that's the you know, that is the beautiful potential that fathers have with their sons. They can express this.
What I love with you, Lenerd, is you know, I'm trying to think where to go with this, because there's so much beauty in that you've got that range of being able to talk around business, power, money, and take it in that direction into the boardroom. You've got that capacity to take it into parenting, into love, into the vulnerability of the heart and the primal power.
But it's so, you know, it's so critical. And I mean, you said earlier, you know, balancing that or integrating that. You know, what sometimes happens is that men can go so into their hearts, and I have sometimes women coming to me and say, "That's so beautiful. My man or this guy is so in his heart, and he's so beautiful, and he's so expressive, but he's almost lost a bit of this masculinity and this penetrative power." And they go, "But oh, it's beautiful for being in his heart, but, you know, I almost feel, you know, he's not a man anymore, or, you know, I just want to be fucked properly, you know. I mean, I love that he's in his heart, but I just want to be ravished, you know, and grabbed, and with consent of beautiful, you know, lovemaking." So I think that is so important. You know, I think it's also a danger dropping so deep into your heart that you lose your masculine, you know, energies and penetrative part, because then you can't, number one, manifest in the world, and number two, I really believe you can't really fully pitch up for your women in your family there. So I think it's super important, both.
It feels to me like there's an important piece around doing this work together as men, in order to feel safe with other men about dropping into the heart.
Well, that has been super interesting and super surprising for me, Georgina, because when I started doing this work, I had a similar view. I thought, wow, will these guys even be able to open up? Do they even want to open up? And exactly what you mentioned there. And what I found is that, fascinatingly, you know, people open up. The guys, you know, do these 21-day journeys, online journeys, but we have a Zoom call every week, you know, 4 Zoom calls over that period, and we're like 20, 30 guys on the call. And I tell you, that container that's there and the vulnerability, sure. I mean, I sometimes wish there was a woman or some women there sitting just on the side and can see the vulnerability of these guys. You know, how open and in the heart they are, but also how strong and powerful they are, you know, because vulnerability is strength. So I find if you create that space of safety, then I tell you, men really pitch up and they're really open and they're super vulnerable and they feel safe. It is all about creating the safe space. But I really do believe if you say to a guy, listen, this is confidential, you know, I think they're quite good not to then share it. So that's the one thing I find when men in that circle and they go, okay, oh, this is, we have 2 or 3 agreements in the beginning. And one of them, okay, what stays here, what say you stays here, and people go, yes or ho. I tell you, the guys really honor that. And they can feel the other guys are going to honor it, and therefore they're really open and vulnerable. So I find it's actually a massive supportive space rather than feeling they're going to be exploited or dominated or anything. I think there's more energy of collaboration and love that happens there.
Yeah, and the more you live that, the more you just bring that into your world.
That's exactly it. Because now you find you circle your vibration pull other men in that space that you can talk to that about. You know, you can talk to them. You have that in a circle, but now you're open, and then you create other spaces in your life where friends, you start just talking, men start talking to each other more open and vulnerable about it. Now, I've got some really traditional mainstream friends who never talk about things that we now talk about, and the guys come and talk to me about, you know, or I talk to them as friends. You know, we're open and very open and vulnerable. So I believe it's shifted massively in the last, let's say, 10 years or so.
Yeah.
5 years.
So let's talk for a moment about the workshop that's going to happen in Nyon on the 19th of August. I love your energy. I love your style, Leonard. You're so humble. You're so embodied. You just bring a lot of heart into the space. And I know you're going to share about your own embodied experiences and really respond to the men that are present and what their questions are, what their interest is, what's real for them in their lives. Is there anything you want to say about what you'd like to bring or what you're inviting for?
Yes, it's going to be very interactive and very practical. So it's not just going to be one guy standing in the front there talking. You know, I think that's super boring. So, you know, there will be some context that I'll give, but then it's going to be very interactive. And I often believe the group also takes it in a direction. So whatever, you know, is needed there will come out, and it'll be practical. Yeah, exactly. I'll definitely want you to go away with some super powerful, fun tools that you can use in your daily life. Now, I don't want it to just be a talk and okay, we talked about it and there's a bit of mind understanding. I mean, that's quite boring. I actually want you to go away there, and when you leave, that you can, as you arrive home, you can start practicing this. The next day at work, you can do in your lovemaking, you can do in your interaction with the world in any space. You can utilize. What I'll bring is that safe container for guys just to be able to express. And what I also bring is the informal parts to it. Not to get too serious, you know. We're going to drop there, you know, into our hearts, and we're going to drop into, you know, into a also say, you know, freedom to say, be direct and be forceful in our comments, you know. So that's also very open for expression, but it's very much an informal space where we're going to just share and be in a safe environment there. And also love to hear what the guys are bringing, you know, what's specifically pertinent to this area, where the people come from, you know, Switzerland to Nyon, and you know, what is relevant, because there's different things relevant in cooking in different spaces in the world. So I'm really open and curious to see what are the challenges, what are the opportunities for men, not in the world, but in this area, and to hear that and to explore that and to expand that and to give come up with solutions and opportunities as much as we can together in that space.
And is this open to all men? I mean, do people need to have some sort of experience in Tantra or conscious sexuality or personal development, or what's your sense for people who are interested?
Yeah, super good question. So this is open to all men. It doesn't matter whether you've been in India meditating for the last 20 years and worked with all the gurus. You know, you'll have a lot of fun here. And if you've never gone and sat in any circle or done anything spiritual or yoga, it doesn't matter. Now, I come from the space of where I was so much in that business traditional world. I come from that space. I carry that energy, so I haven't, for the last 50 years, been on the beach, just smoking a joint and stuff. I've lived in different areas of my life, so I can really relate to all different expressions and backgrounds. So it's for all men.
Yeah. And
then also very importantly, so I'm myself as a heterosexual man, straight man, but it's open to all sexual orientations. This is not just that's just my preference, but that's just personal preference. It's open to whether you're straight, whether you're gay, whether you're bi, or anything between. This is really for men. I think this is totally irrelevant. And in some of my circles, we have the online thing is a full expression of men. And a lot of the stuff, even in the lovemaking stuff, when we start talking about semen retention and ejaculation choice, it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. It's also it's relevant to that. And obviously, as far as the heart and the penetrating, So I just want to put that out. I think that's also super important.
Yeah, this is about each individual becoming a full embodied expression of themselves and feeling free in that.
Exactly. That's it. For me, the big thing is if you can go out there and go out there, I believe that's what will happen. When you leave the circle, to be as confident as possible in yourself and especially in your sexuality and especially in your masculinity, have that confidence and that secureness. So that's what I believe comes out of these workshops. If you walk out of there, it has not just been a nice experience. You actually walk out there more secure and more sound and more comfortable in yourself, in your own body, in your own skin.
Mm. Hallelujah. We all need it. Is there anything else that you'd love to share, or if someone's sort of on the fence as to whether, well, they come to this, or they go out on the lake for the day, or spend the day with the family, the kids, or whatever, what would you say in terms of, because I feel this is an opportunity. I mean, you're only here in Europe for a short time, and I feel, it's a great opportunity for local men to have this experience and share with you. And so, but what would you say to them if they're a little bit on the fence still?
Yeah, I would say, man, it's only 4 or 5 hours, and give yourself this. You can be on the lake any other day, and give yourself 4 or 5 hours and go and explore, be curious, check it out. The scariest thing for me is that saying, you don't know what you don't know.
Mm.
So that is super, super scary. So be curious, come and got nothing to lose, come into the circle. And also, if it's not for you and you're in the circle and you feel, oh God, I'm going to leave, then perfectly fine also, so there's no pressure in that space. But so if you're sitting on the fence, I would say, could you do with being a bit more secure in yourself and your masculinity? Are there questions around your masculinity that you feel you don't have anyone to talk to? And your sexuality? Well, there's no better space than right now, right here, to go and do that, and actually to jump in and come and sit with the circle of guys, and with me, that I've done it quite a bit, that know how to keep that safe container where you can really fully express. So I guarantee you're going to have fun and learn a lot.
Fantastic. How can people find out a little bit more about you and follow you?
Yeah, my website is probably a good place, and you may have to type that in the link or so, because the spelling is quite specific. So it's lenerdlouw.com, and on there it's just updated some stuff yesterday. It's very brief, to the point, but it gives a picture of what I do, my background, the book I've written, and some of the online courses that are out there. So that's a good start. And from that site, you can go all over into social media, so it's a good starting point. So that I would say. And then also on Facebook, Instagram, I'm there on the same name. So yeah, and then also really, Georgina, pop me, if anyone, the guys, pop me an email or pop me a WhatsApp. On my website, you can actually go and just click a button and send a WhatsApp. So if you have any questions, I'm open to that, and you want to know a bit more about the weekend, you're not sure, feel free to pop me a WhatsApp or email on the website.
Oh, thank you so much, Anna. Thank you for the passion and the heart that you bring to all of this. And I love you very much. And I just feel it's going to be a great opportunity for the men. I'm excited. And thank you for coming. Yeah.
Oh, awesome, Gina. I love you so much, and really looking forward to seeing you in person, not just in this. And really excited to be in that part of the country. I haven't been, and it's what I've seen on photos looks absolutely amazing. So yeah, look forward to catching up soon.
Thank you.